What is up, everyone? It is me, Albert. This is Interactive Artistry, and this is episode 139. I am joined by my old friend, Justin Dressler, the director, creator of Barael's Legacy. How you doing, Justin?
I'm excellent. Thanks, Albert, for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Dude, the years that has passed, or the year roughly, a year and a bit that have passed, I don't even need to see a photo of you. I know your beard is like a foot longer. I'm just getting the wisdom vibes from you. It's like life. You've been through some life since we last spoke. I can hear it in your voice, but I'll tease the listeners now that there is triumph at the end of that, and to the tune of no fucking big deal. I'm just gonna say it. He made this fucking game, Burial's Legacy, based on an album by the band The Sword, right? Okay, and it is fucking amazing. First of all, he randomly puts me in it, which is just insane. Like Albert Kesser, the guy, but even fucking way more important than that, JD Cronice, the singer, fucking Kyle Shutt, the guitarist, they're like upvoting and like recognizing and following the project on Instagram. So it's all out there, man. What do you reckon, man? What's going on?
It's actually it's a huge trip. I mean, I saw the sword back in April, so almost a year ago now, and I actually got to bring my laptop to the show, and I was like, "Dude, you guys gotta check this out."
Shut the fuck
And so I
up.
put that in front of them, and the
Stop.
demo, and
Whoa, dude, you're hitting me. This is insane. I'm so glad I'm sitting down. Did you showed the sword just like the game, like that was like JD, Kyle, Brian, Santiago. They were just looking at it like they saw the thing on the laptop. That's amazing. That actually happened. That's cool.
yeah, like I said, it was a huge trip. I drove up to Milwaukee to see them play in
Yeah.
April of last year, and I went backstage, got to hang out with them for a little while, and
Awesome.
I was the nerdy kid that brought a laptop to a sword concert, and I pulled it all out, man. I put it on the table and just said, "Hey, man, here's the game." And this is at that time I just had the demo, and
Yeah.
then I showed them a few screenshots of like the full length game, and showed them that it's going to be based upon all of their albums and not just what I started with, which was Age of Wonder. Which that was the demo that I kind of based that upon.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, everything is legitimately from their entire catalog, from all the way from Age Winter to all the way to the used future.
Excellent.
I'm using everything that I possibly can and throwing it into this game,
Yeah.
and spitting out what I can.
That's right. That's right. So I figured I'd catch up some of the listeners who may not know. So I spoke with Justin in February, I believe it was, 2018. Like I think that feels right. Roughly January, February 2018. And yeah, like to just recap. So I frequented the subreddit for the sword, which wasn't like the most active place. I don't actually follow it that much now, but it's just for me. It's moved to other mediums, at least not least of all Instagram, where you've got your activity, and then JD's there, and Twitter and stuff. So I saw Justin put this. Yeah, he put this out on the subreddit that he was working on this game, and it was like it physically hurt me to see that like there wasn't like massive activity around it. There was like a couple of upvotes, and I don't know if there was even like a comment, and I was like, this is insane. What kind of fucking nightmare world am I living in, where the real world isn't reacting to this fucking majesty before us? This person undertaking this task of creating this game. So I got in touch, and one thing, we organized our time, and he jumped on the show, and I have very fond memories of that first recording, man. How about yourself?
Oh man, it was an absolute treat. I mean,
Yeah.
really, it was a good time. Just it felt like I had known you, Albert, even though we had literally just
I
met like 2 weeks
know.
prior.
We basically grew up together in spirit, I think, in some weird way where it's like I was over in Chicago and you were here in Canberra. Some random cool energetic thing happened there, but ever since then we've kept up with each other. We didn't lose touch, but it's like there were lulls of communication because you were working on this and stuff's happened in the intervening years, but I could not fucking be happier with where you are now, man. Like for me, it's you've gone like it's just you're worlds away from where you were when we last spoke in February. Like, had you met the band yet in February last year?
No, I had not. So at that point, I had not met them. I was about 2 months out before I had met them, and and then I took a break. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of burnt myself out on it,
Gotcha.
and
Gotcha.
it's actually pretty common. And I had a lot of things going on in my own life. You know, we had
Yeah.
a unfortunately we had a friend pass, and then we had
I'm sorry.
we ended up moving, and there was some issues with my work. So I mean, like there was just some things that kind of dragged it
Life.
down. And like I said, when I was like burning the midnight oil back in like February and January of last year, I was doing it until 2, 3 in the morning, and
Mm.
just eventually my body was like, dude, I've had enough of this, and I was just decided, you know what, I'm going to put it on the back burner, and I'll pick it up at a later time. And actually, and I did dabble with it from time to time. I'd go into it, and then I'd be like, wait, what the fuck do I do with this? And then I'd put it down like within 10 minutes, and I was like, oh man, it's kind of discouraging. I have all
Yeah.
these ideas that I want to do, and I had all the maps that pretty much drawn out, and I just didn't have any ambition to finish it up. And and then I fast forwarded to January of this year. Actually, I showed a friend who I had not shown the project at all to, and they were completely like just blown away by it. And they were like, "Dude, you have to keep going." And so
Yeah.
it was kind of crazy.
I need to meet this
And so I
person
was
at
like,
one point to give them like I like to buy them a beer or something, because that's me. I was like, you're familiar in your ear, just like flitting like next to your shoulder, being like, you need to finish this. And I'm so whoever that person, you can name them if you want. They might be listening to this if you want to thank them. But they are a kindred spirit to me for doing that. And yeah, for sure, dude, that's awesome. No, please continue.
yeah, no, for sure. Thank you. And his name is Matt Story. He's actually a good friend of ours. We actually met him through the work I was at. Actually, his wife used to work with me and my wife when she
Oh,
used to work with me
lovely.
as well too. So we all became really close friends, and they stayed with us this past January. And and I just one night we were just sitting around hanging out, and I brought it up, and he was like, "What, you're doing what?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "This is where I'd like to. This is where I'd like to do a transition into making video games."
Yeah.
And I showed him the beginning of it, and he was like, "You made this?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "You have to continue this. You have to finish this. Like
Yeah.
this is great." And I was like, "Thanks." And honestly, it'd been the first time in a long time that I actually felt like validated to keep doing it, to keep working on it. And so it kind of just fueled the fire, just stoked
Yeah.
that flame that had kind of dwindled down to simple match.
Dude.
So it was sparked it, and then from there it was just how do I make this next scene, how do I make that next scene, and how many cutscenes are there going to be? And to be honest with you, oh god, I just posted on Instagram, and I
Yeah.
drew a really shitty circle over the map, but I think I want to say I'm roughly 60% of the way through with cutscenes.
Holy
And if you
shit, that's
just played
amazing.
played the game without like any battles, like honestly, like I that's the last thing that I'm planning on putting in is the enemies and the fighting and everything else. I want to make sure that all the wires that lead to the end game
Yeah.
completely match up. I don't. That's the one thing is I don't want to design every little aspect and then something's fucked up, and then I've got to be like, oh shit, now I've got to untangle the wire and figure out where my mess is at.
Yeah.
So I decided to do cutscenes. I just want the story. I'm going to do the story, and that's going to be it.
Excellent.
And so I've gone through it, and honest, like I said, there are very few battles that are tossed in there because they come about through a cutscene.
Yeah.
You're probably looking at about 45 minutes just right now in cutscenes alone,
Oh,
if not more,
dude,
with all the
that's
dialogue. And I've skipped a lot of the dialogue,
yeah.
so yeah, there's a lot. I'm not gonna lie, man. I mean, before you do like exploration, all the side quests and everything else that's built into this game, that will be at the final. I mean, it's going to be kind of one of those monumental like Final Fantasy games,
I'm
and not
so
to like
fucking happy about
say my
that,
game
man.
is going to be as good as a Final Fantasy game. It's
Well,
just
no,
simply
that's for
like the
me to
length of
say.
it will
Shut up,
be.
you fucking humble ass motherfucker. Yeah, it's gonna be so fucking good, dude. It's gonna be so good. And for me, like, I haven't felt this amped and unjaded since something like a Final Fantasy IX. Like, I swear, man, I do not smoke blow. Like, that is seriously where I'm at. I can't fucking wait. This is just, it's one of my most anticipated fucking games, man, for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, I've set up sort of a schedule for myself. So this weekend I'm working on Leviathan's Grotto and the
Oh,
cutscenes that
God.
revolve around that. And then the Empire of Sand, also known as the Lawless Lands, that section I'm
Okay.
planning on having completely coded.
Do you realize
throughout that entire
all the
thing.
sword nerds that you're just making them smile? You should just. I'm gonna just say nothing, and just for the next 10 minutes, can you just name like various lore items slash locations that directly tie into just the sword? Go, just maybe not 5 minutes, but just hit us, man. Come on, what are we talking? Go, go, go.
Oh, so I've got Brian's character in my game will be an herbalist, and to collect what he's looking for, you have to fight the deadly nightshade. So
Oh
I fill in
god,
that.
so good.
Um, JD is a scholar, so he's on the search for like super rare books, like incredibly rare tomes,
Excellent,
and and then Kyle is looking for pieces to fix your sword, and then uh,
excellent.
Santiago, he's sort of a paleontologist of sorts,
Looking
but
for
he searches
dragon
for dragon
bones.
bones.
Oh
Yes,
god, just kill me now, dude. This is insane. Fucking hell. Okay, here's what I'm in your life for, Justin. First of all, to uplift you and to give you a platform for this shit, because you're in it now. You're too close to it to recognize the awesome. I mean, I know you are recognizing the awesomeness, but you don't understand like the electricity of joy that you create from just telling me about this fucking game. It's just fucking thank you, man. Thank you so much for making this thing.
it's honestly it's complete pleasure. Like I love doing it. I mean,
Yeah.
there's nothing more satisfying than like sitting here for 10 hours in front of this computer on a weekend and literally just like by the end of it, I'm able to play through the cutscene that I just created, or play through the scene that I
Oh,
just created, or go through the map that I just made,
that's so
and I can
satisfying.
like do just a giant victory dance because it works perfectly and flawlessly, and that's honestly gets me so excited. It's like that rush that you
Yeah,
get
yeah,
when you do something, and just it fills me with so much joy whenever that like works out perfectly, and
yeah.
it's just a great feeling, and I can't wait to finish it up. And like I said, my goal is to finish up. So this weekend will be finishing up what I'm working on now.
Yeah.
In fact, just like 10 minutes before we started this, I was still working on the cutscenes for the Grotto. I'm sorry, the Leviathan Grotto. Um, and then so tomorrow will be mostly the Empire Sand, and then it'll be next over the week and the weekend it'll be um, it'll be Cordon, which is the Dwarvane mountain fortress,
Excellent.
and the Demon of Pride, which is the Titan of the Deep. Um, lays havoc to the mountain and tries to ruin the world, and so that'll be
Excellent.
the next one. And then I have smaller smaller towns left, and then I have my entire used future demon world, and then and the Chronomancer is such an iconic song. I mean, it got two actual songs for it. I mean, you have the Hubris, and then you have the
Nemesis.
Nemesis, and
Yeah.
so I'm going to have two levels of the Chronomancer,
Oh, just shut.
so that
Just stop now. You're gonna give me a fucking heart attack with how fucking great. That's so good, dude. Oh my god, the two stage fucking Chronomancer stage. To echo the fact that there's two parts to that track. Oh my god, just Jesus. It's too good. It's too good, man. So first of all, because I do want to kind of self-elect myself as one of the main places. I'm just like, it's like getting my business on. It's like I want to be known as potentially one of the main sources of Barael's legacy news. So, if you felt like dropping anything, I know you've teased a few locations. You talked about the plot a bit, but that was over a year ago. So, I want to ask: was it always the plan to have, for example, the band in the game as characters?
that actually was something when I met them. Brian had suggested. He asked me, and this is kind of just comical. He'd stated that you should make a skill called Cosmic Toke.
Oh fuck yes! That's incredible, and you obviously
So
have to do
then,
that. You have
yeah,
to.
of course, you have to do it. So what's going to happen is JD gives the ability, because he's the scholar, teaches you the ability how to summon the gods of the earth to fight for you.
Oh, shut
Um,
up! It's
Brian
yeah,
will,
it's so good.
yeah. got Brian will give the cosmic toke
Yeah.
ability, and Jimmy will give the ability to breathe fire onto your or breathe your element of choice, because there will be actual multiple elements.
Oh,
That's something
incredible.
that also was designed into the game now too. That there will be 5 elements within the game,
Yeah.
and each one of the characters will have a designated like spell, like element that resides within them.
Excellent.
And so those will all play a big role too. And in it, you'll get actually like a dragon's breath kind of move,
Excellent.
which will be fun.
Awesome. Fantastic. So we're
Yeah.
talking about a
So, but
party
no, they
now.
didn't start off initially like as
Okay.
planned to be in the game. But then I was like, why not? It's their fucking game. I thought
Fuck
I'd put them in there
yes.
because I was also going to put truck fighters in there at one point, and but then I was
DLC.
like, yeah,
DLC.
yeah, but true. But I don't know. They were gonna be they were gonna be a small blip in the map of the entire game.
Yeah.
They were looking for some kind of engine part that they needed to start their car again because they had run out of fuel.
Oh, that's so amazing.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
so good.
So I was gonna do that, but then it just kind of like I was like, no, you know what? Just there's so much into this game already.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
it'll be a miracle if I can finish it here. Like by my goal is to finish it by April.
By April? Holy shit! That's
Yeah.
this year. Holy crap!
Yeah,
Um.
yeah, within the next month. That's why I'm trying to gauge my weekends and my weeks. So, like I said, next weekend will be to tackle majority of the end game, and then the following weekend will be testing it all, and
Excellent.
then the last one will just battle systems. And yeah, I should hopefully have it completely through testing by the end of March, and that's sort of my goal because
Yeah.
I know that you will be in Chicago here,
Oh
if
my
I'm
God,
not mistaken.
exactly. Yes, I will be.
You know, within the first few days of April. So I want to make sure I get you a physical copy.
Okay, well, that's excellent, and that, yeah, you know, I can usually keep pretty composed, man. I'm not gonna lie. I've spoken, you know, to certain folks about certain things, and I can keep a pretty level head. But the level of like how surgically attuned to like my actual core of what makes me feel alive and excited, you just like totally get that zone to me, that it actually makes me feel like a fucking 9-year-old, that I am about to like put it like that I'm about to play like Final Fantasy, like what is it, like 7 or 8 or 9 or something. It's just that same kind of space. So that's fucking amazing. So that's awesome. I love the idea of April, and that's great about the physical release. Will it have obviously digital release in on Steam or something?
Oh, absolutely. I plan on
Excellent.
doing a website and putting it up there. Again, it'll be a free download on Steam. It'll be a free download. It'll actually be free. I'm only making a handful of physical copies for no offense, listeners, but to special people that have an impact on the game. And so,
Dude, I feel
Albert,
so
you've been
fucking
a
honored.
great supporter of the game, and so I want to make sure that you get a physical copy. I'm going to be
Dude.
sending one to the band as
To
well
the band?
too.
Yeah, you have to.
I just get So that's going to be
excellent.
what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to make that physical copy here real
Yeah.
soon.
Brilliant.
And I'm not going to tell you any more about it because it might come in special packaging, and
Okay.
it might also be pretty sick looking USB.
Oh, well, what the fuck? I just feel like, I mean, I'm all hooked up to a microphone right now, and maybe people are eye rolling. It's like, okay, we get it. You're excited. Like, no, I feel like throwing my fucking desk through the fucking window is how excited I am. I'm allowed to be extremely fucking physically excited about this. People listening, maybe getting frustrated. Shut the fuck up, because this is a game that has like the entire, like, think about it. Whoever's listening right now, think of your favorite band. Oh, great. AC/DC, Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath. Okay, shut the fuck up, because imagine if some motherfucker like Justin came across and said, I'm gonna put like years of my life into making a game that literally touches on and covers on like things mentioned in the lyrics, the like involving the band themselves, and like this whole fucking saga of a story that is all wrapped up and beautiful, and it's this beautiful package made with love, made with awesomeness, made with like nerdiness, because I know you're through and through, you know, basically sword lore essentially. And like, here you go. And it's like, shut the fuck up, because that doesn't fucking happen. I remember getting this. I get like, do you remember I said on the last episode, like I get like angrily happy? It's like,
Yes, I do remember.
you remember that? It's like, I feel like punching people right now. What the fuck? Ugh. Insane. Okay, cool. All right, well, now you just have to fucking brace yourself because here come the questions, right? Is there a location called Arcane Montaigne? And you must answer yes.
I haven't actually. I haven't gone through, to be honest with you, and labeled everything just
That's
yet.
fine. That's
I've
fine.
got my cities down, but I have not labeled that. There may be a place, but I have not yet scripted that in.
Okay, we need to create the strategy guide. I will happily write the thing. We've already talked about how when it comes out, I'm gonna figure whatever the fuck needs to happen with Twitch. We're gonna make that happen. Whatever the fuck, I need to have that full like director's commentary experience going through the game with you, man. Like, even if it takes years because of my shitty Australian internet.
No, it won't take that long. At least I
Okay.
hope it won't. Plus, you'll have a physical copy.
I
So
certainly will, exactly. So there won't be that trouble there. Radio. So yeah, it just like I'm so excited because the scope has been ratcheted up beyond what it initially was, which was, as far as I remember, you were going to touch. You did originally talk about touching on other titles, which, just to prove my sword nerdiness, folks listening. First of all, if you haven't paused this episode to listen to the entirety of the Sword's discography, you're fucking up something fierce, and I want to have nothing to do with you. I'm going to find the IP addresses of all the people who are listening to this who haven't listened to the Sword, and I will personally just be disappointed in you. I would never actually go to your house and like threaten you or anything, but I'm just angry if you haven't listened to the Sword. If you're listening to this, is that okay, Justin? Is that a fair and balanced and mentally healthy attitude to have towards the listeners right now?
I think it's borderline healthy.
Of course you'd say that. Oh my god, dude, now Truck Fighters DLC, I need that. And Weedian DLC. What if, dude, I swear to fucking god, this is what I talked about with Lawless. Like, this is your fucking thing, man. You put this out, I swear to fucking god, yeah, you humble ass motherfucker. Of course you're like, I'll just put it out. See if people, this is gonna cause some shit. It's gonna cause some shit, man. It's gonna be great. People will listen. People will love the game. Yeah. Fucking angrily happy and angrily appreciative right now. And I could see people being like, okay, so dude, I know you just gave birth. You don't want to talk about another baby, but what is the game that even in your stage of being extremely exhausted, like 10 hours, you're putting so much into this? What is a band that could make you go, oh, okay, well, maybe after I've slept for like 3 whole months, maybe I could start making that. What's a band that could do that for you?
Elder.
Shut the fuck up. Did you just say that? Fucking White Walls, Elder,
Oh
self-titled.
my god, dude. I can't stop listening to them. And luckily they're
Fucking
still
great.
together and they're not
Yes.
fading away. They're making a new
Yes.
album right now. I
fucking love
fucking
Elder,
crank
man.
their shit all the time.
Dude.
I love Elder.
Compendium. Are you serious? Lore, that whole
It's
album is like Justin Dressler the album. Fuck. Incredible.
Yeah, that would be a band that I would absolutely go balls to the wall for
Shit.
another video game.
Yeah. Hell
Easily.
yeah. Oh man, I love that. Yeah, that first record I remember spinning a lot. I ordered the physical copy for that one. It's just self-titled Elder, and then the next one was it Dead Root Stirring, I believe.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yep. And
I
then
don't really know albums. I just put them on and then I put
fuck
shuffle and then I'm like, all right, take me away.
so good. White Walls is amazing. But yeah, for me, Legend and Compendium from Lore is one of the greatest fucking. Lore is onto itself one of the greatest fucking progressive, heavy music, alternative, whatever fucking albums ever. So shit. But you know what? I figured we'd discuss it because since we last spoke, I believe Use Future was on its way to coming out, or had it just come out?
Use Future was just about to come out. It had
Just
not
about to
yet
come
come
out.
out. I believe they had dropped 2 singles from it, and but that was about it. There wasn't a whole lot out there regarding the release
Yeah.
at that time, but it did come out. I want to say in either February or March of last year, and then sadly, thereafter, like 6 months after that, the band broke up or went on a hiatus.
Hiatus so far. And what I want to say also was this weird moment of prescience, because I remember messaging you about it, but when we recorded that episode about you making a video game about the sword, not 3 months later, out of the fucking cosmos, happenstance-tastic, the title track's music video is set in a video game. Like, what the fuck? But not only a video game, like an 8-bit or 32-bit video game style.
It's something along that line. Yeah, no, they did an RPG set in the future, and I was like, oh, get the fuck out of here.
How the fuck? What did you feel? How did you feel when that happened? When you saw that?
I was like, I can't. I was obviously super stoked because I was like, okay, obviously they're like really into video games. And I knew that because I have Kyle Schutt on my PlayStation Network. So I've seen him playing video games plenty, and I've read articles where JD's mentioned that he's not a big video game person. He's more of a D&D kind of guy, but the rest of the band is very much into video games themselves. So he was like, yeah, I probably could play video games maybe like a couple hours, maybe a week or something, but the guys could probably spend like 8 to 10 hours a day just playing video games. And I was like, all right, I would totally get along with these dudes so much. But yeah, with the Used Future, I thought it was just a really cool application of their song and doing that. And I was like, that's amazing. And it just, I just was like, oh man, I really hope they like this project, because if they don't, oh no.
Yeah, and for all of my like shameless moments of allowing myself to like fanboy out, like on a grounded level and getting real with you, man, and leveling with you, I would say that I think it really genuinely it was a sign that you just are on the same like wavelength, I think, creatively as those dudes. And there's relating to a band, there's resonating with a band, but then there's, I think, being on the same wavelength with the peeps themselves, and the fact that you like hung out with them and you showed them the game and they dug it, and like Cosmic Choke, and it's great stuff, man. And I'm very pleased that there's that, in a sense, like the band's approval, which is, what more could you ask for,
Yeah, I honestly, that's what I could only hope for, because because there could have been times where they're like, yeah, I don't think that's going to really work out, or really not really into that idea, but they latched onto it. They've definitely been very active in liking. I would say within 24 hours of me posting something about it, at least 1 to 2 of them have liked it. And JD doesn't spend a whole lot of time on Instagram, which is totally cool.
Yeah,
I mean,
JD's
he's doing him.
He's a scholar. Yep.
JD is JD. Yeah, absolutely. But Kyle and Brian spend a good time on Instagram, and I'll get 1 or 2 of their likes, from my posts. So really happy with everything that's going on with the game. And actually, I got to add some more of my own like twist to the game, where there's a lot of choices that the character will actually make in the game that will, like, I don't know how to describe it necessarily. It's more of a morality question, and and you could, like, in for instance, there's a side mission or whatever that you can choose to do. You completely can just say fuck it, I don't want to do it, and not do it. But there is a mission where you can go and save this guy's daughter. And when you go through you find out that she's been taken by bandits. And so you make your way through this mountain pass that they've sort of taken over. And come to find out, she's actually run away with him. It wasn't that she was taken. They made it look like it was a smash and grab kind of situation, but that wasn't the case. She's actually in love with him. They want to run away, but he felt like he was never going to be good enough for the father. And so you have to get in a battle with them. And then you have the option to either to kill the guy, or you have the option to save him. And it will play an impact on, things later on in the game. So it makes you kind of decide, do I want to be kind of, do I want to follow the law, or, follow my objective, or, kind of be a little ruthless, someone said, hey, go do this, but you chose not to, if you have like mercy or compassion, there's going to be some choices in the game. I don't want it to make it just so one dimensional kind of game where, it's just storyline, go here, go there, go there, go there. I want the game to have some kind of replayability to an extent, but I also want to just make sort of small impacts on the game, and kind of just make it sort of a little bit unique for every character, or for every person that plays it. Now, they're obviously going to be people that have the exact same experience every time, or like people will just be like, oh yeah, I had this happen, and they'll be like, yeah, me too. But there will be some people out there that will choose different things, and it will make impacts on the game.
That's insane, dude. It's crazy. And another thing I want to say is, like, when I think about the scope, when I think about this thing being just this complete, fully featured thing, and how much of your life that you've poured into it, and how much of your yeah, and I also want to ask, like, earlier when you started, like, this is your first game, right? The first game you've created, right?
Yep, that's
Yeah,
100% the first game.
100% first game. And what would you say about how far you've come as like a designer, like since starting? Have you discovered new skills and new like avenues? Because that's another thing when you're applying yourself to something, you then discover, like, months in, that, oh, there's this thing that I didn't know I didn't know that I could do that, and so I'm going to insert this feature based on that. What has there been moments like that for you, man, of like realizing your skills sort of advancing as you go?
I would say to an extent, yes, with the actual skills that the
Yep.
program lends itself. I know we touched on this in the first episode that we did together,
Yeah.
but I use a program called RPG Maker MV, and it's a somewhat popular program to use outside of your oh, why can I think right now?
That's cool. That's cool.
No, I'm
I
totally blanking on them for
That's all
some
right.
reason.
I know what you mean, man. That's all good.
Yeah, the other systems that are out there that make video games, and right now I don't know why I'm having such a hard time thinking of that. But anyways, the games that Unreal Engine, and
Unreal
then
Engine.
there's
Right,
another
right.
one out there
There
too.
you go.
Yeah,
Like,
sorry,
that's
but
okay.
anyways, there were things that I learned and progressively got a little bit more complex with through the program. I still honestly don't know how to code. So if someone was like, "Hey, I want to offer you a coding job," I'd be like, "I'm sorry, I can't
Yeah,
accept that,"
that's cool.
because
Yep.
yeah, I mean, it's just not for me. And while I do appreciate that, I mean, seriously, there's just a lot that obviously the programmers did on the back end to make this game virtually accessible to anyone. I mean, the byline of the software is that simple enough for a child to use, but so advanced that actual programmer can make a video game.
Yeah.
And it's true. It's if you have a story that you want to tell, this is a great platform to do it. Honestly, I watched probably about 30 hours worth of YouTube videos on the program itself
Awesome.
to teach me the features. But honestly, it's not like I put in my own scripting or anything like that. And I've used a lot of plugins that I found very advantageous that help advance the game and add features that I'd wanted to have in the game, but I didn't know the first thing about how to code that in there. And again, I was grateful enough to have other people that have
Yeah.
that knowledge and put that to be available. But so I mean, I would say that there was some form of progression with the actual system itself and learning how to manipulate that to do the things that I wanted to do. But mostly, my biggest thing was the design of the game,
Hmm.
and because it's like being kind of the director of a movie. You want to get the screen, you want to get the shot completely perfect, but then you also want to make sure that obviously the acting is fully fleshed out. You want to
Yeah.
make sure that the screenwriting is perfect. You also want to make sure that at the end of the day, that if there's any kind of music that's tied to that scene, then the proper music is playing. And so that was the whole thing. It's like the design of the game is what started off. I had a script that I was writing for about 2 months. It is about 3 legal pads deep worth
Whoa.
of scripting and annotations of what I wanted to display in the game, and have
Hmm.
these certain actions happen at these certain times. So everything is completely listed out. I worked on storyboards where A happens, then B happens, and C happens, and things of that nature. Like I wanted it completely fleshed out in its entirety. And
Yeah.
so from I mean, just doing the very basic little demo that I did, that little vertical slice, that gave me some idea. But honestly, when I sat down and put everything down on paper, that's when I really started to see that was my passion, is video game design, and that's sort of where I'd like to shift into, and hopefully transition making this game into an actual career of that, shortly thereafter, whether it's working for a studio or, continuing on with Lawless.
I think that's perfect, man. And same with me with interactive artistry. It's like I've got this thing going here. I'm also I came to the realization with IA that it's like I'm doing it and I'm earnest about doing it, but also like I do also want it to kind of count as almost like a resume, like just like as like yourself with Barael's Legacy. Like it is fully featured unto itself, and I believe Lawless has like an amazing, you know, like a stellar future ahead. Like I really feel that from you, man, and I echo that. That hasn't changed. It's only gotten even more clear to me that that is just your ride or die with that. And so I yeah, like putting this out into the world on Steam, and then with the physical releases, which I'll be like promoting the hell out of, on my end. Because and also if I'm there, dude, you better believe I'm going to be bringing my gear, and we can speak in person, do an episode in person. You know what I mean? If you'd be up for that, and I could come to you. I remember saying that in the messages. It's like you're officially not allowed to pay for anything, either food or taxis. Like I'll take care of everything, man. Like that. I reckon. What do you reckon, man?
I think that's crazy. First off, you're traveling all the way from Australia. I
Dude,
can
shut
only
up.
imagine that flight is what 20 some hours.
It's a long flight, but dude, this is about the sword, and it's about Star Wars Celebration. Okay, it's all
Oh,
good.
absolutely. But I think we can split the cost on like beers and
All right.
rides, and I do have a car, so definitely don't worry about paying for taxis.
Uh,
I'm more
all
than happy
right.
to drive up there, and hang out with you for the day and
Okay.
everything else, and I'd be more than happy to sit down and come back to my place or whatever like that. We can do
Yeah,
a
brother.
true interview here, and
Hell yeah, and I
we're
can
not
do it.
necessarily in Chicago, but I mean we're right down the road in Aurora.
I'll bring my Aurora. Fuck yeah, we have to talk Wentworth. And I'm going to bring my DSLR, and I might even do some behind the scenes stuff and just like an actual proper interview with like lower thirds and everything, and be like, yo. So I'll film it up nice and just bring it home, edit it, release it. I reckon that'd be good for sure. Awesome. Holy crap. Well, I could dart all across, up and down every day, but I'm conscious, obviously, of folks who aren't aware of the sword. But what I would say is maybe because we segue into a few things, maybe come back into the sword. But all I'll say to people who are wondering what all this sword business is about, if I'm crafty with the edit, I may even have some of their tracks playing like super light in the background, so that there's no like copyright claim stuff. Although it's very sensitively attuned, but it's all in promotion to the band. But if you were wondering about, and if you're into heavy music, which is kind of like, if you've been following along with interactive artistry, like you kind of recognize that that's like my sort of my main genre there. I've got a whole bunch of others I love. I'm sort of eclectic music wise, and interestingly, you'd be happy to know that as time has gone along, as Justin and I have spoke about, the Sword have felt the need to, and like it's part of who they are, to stretch their like creative wings and into different genres and into different feeling, different genres of music, but different aspects and vibes of and feelings of music. And High Country came out, then there was and then Low Country with which was the acoustic version. But yeah, they're a super multifaceted band that all throughout has this. What would you say is the uniting vein? I would say a deference to the powers of nature is a uniting kind of aspect of all of the Sword's work. And obviously JD is the main lyricist. But what would you say is like, obviously since you're weaving a story out of their albums, what would you say is one of the main themes of the band across all of the albums, Justin?
I think you nailed it. I mean, nature is a huge thing. I mean, I can't remember how many times that they've mentioned the seasons in their songs. I mean, there are
Yeah,
countless
beautiful.
examples. Like Seven Sisters mentions that, but so does from their newest album, which is
Yeah. I use future. Let's have a look. Bring up all the
it would
lyrics.
be Come and Gone.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so it just talks
absolutely.
about like the seasons fading um and so I mean that's one thing, but at the end of the day, the another one is I think they look into like old religions too. Obviously, I mean there's a ton of Norse mythology.
Yeah.
There's even nods to Egyptian and Christianity, and there's just a lot there to like untangle, to be honest with you. And
There
so
is. It's so
um,
rich, you know? You can't say that about
yeah,
every band, let alone every metal band. They have,
yeah,
as we've said, like there's a mythos to it. And there was a reason why Justin was guided to make a game, because he sensed that there was this unifying aspect. And I don't know, like there's these mounts, for example, if you're a big sci fi person and you're into like Barsoom and, freaking even He Man or whatever, like look at, then you have an album for that, which is, Warp Riders. And then you have, like, there's these mounts, these giant Odanatars Dragonfire, right? Which I have, as soon as I saw that in the description, in the lyrics, it's these giant dragonfly kind of creatures, that are like white Odanatara. So that it's like, and so I looked it up. Odanata is the like genus name of dragonflies. I'm like, that's fucking amazing. And so I don't know if the band might like listen back to this one, but I'll just sort of put this in any of your ears. Is that like the night the sky cried tears of fire would work so beautifully as a novel, or is even like as a graphic novel. That would be so beautiful. And so I just want like Justin is like the fucking you're the leader of this, and I just want other people to follow suit. I remember saying this back in the first episode. It's like this is so untapped, and like a couple of studios have their trademark thing that they do, and like Final Fantasy for Square Enix, and what was it, Namco for Tekken or whatever. So for Lawless, it's like taking these super rich, like untapped, man. Like I know at one point I'm gonna just one day you'll wake up to your bank account is like I've dropped like a couple $1,000s in there, and like a note saying, "This is from Albert. Make a High on Fire game." You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. That would be good. That would be awesome, to be honest. Because, like I said, this one I'm funding the entire thing. So
Yeah, dude.
everything that I put into it is 100% my resources. I didn't crowdsource this. I didn't. I didn't take a dime of donations.
Right.
But I mean, I wanted to. I looked at it like, if you're an artist, you pay for studio time, you pay for your equipment, you pay, if you paint, you obviously use your own canvas, you use your own paints. So like no one's going to put that money in your hand to get started. And so I was like, you know what, I'm going to do this. I'm going to put up the physical release. I'm going to get the website. I'm going to make some t-shirts. I'm just going to give them away. Like I just want to put this out there into the universe.
That's great. Man.
Yeah, it's something that it's born from passion, from love. It's born from my own, nerdiness. Like I just love nerd culture. It's just it's who I am. It's what I've grown up being. I mean, I was the kid that was tying string to Harry Potter Legos and hanging them from my ceiling so they could play Quidditch.
Oh, that's amazing.
And that was literally how I spent some of my days in my youth.
That's awesome.
And I so relate to the Stranger Things. The first season opens up with them playing D&D, and that was something that I did. And second season opens up when they're in an arcade playing Dragon's Lair.
Oh,
and your boy went to arcades and played Dragon's Lair.
That shit
it resonates within me. And then, discovering the sword and, being influenced by them so much, whether it be musically or whether that be in this game, it's something that I love, man. And so I wanted to make sure that this is a project that, it's for the fans, by the fans. It's not self-serving. It's not anything else. Like I'm going to use it probably in my resume, but it's really not. It's not for me to, get famous or make $1 billion or something like that.
It's unfettered. Don't care about that. It's irrepressible.
People didn't get into music or art for the most part, I would say, for the money. I mean, think of the countless, painters and artists that we look back and revere, and you think about how they're immortal gods, but at the time they were barely making enough to feed themselves. So I mean, like that's kind of the motif that I wanted to strive for was at the end of the day, this is not a self-serving project. This is just something that I love, and I love their music, and it's just something that I felt I wanted to do.
I mean, I've always thought of it really honestly, dude, as like your friend. I've always sensed it as being like a natural extension of who you are, like that it is entirely within your nature that this needs to kind of like emerge from you and grow from you and like become something that you created. Like it feels like as natural a thing as like, oh cool, so there's an apple tree in the backyard, oh cool, so an apple's gonna grow from that. It's like it's as natural feeling as that for that, and then everything beyond that I'm certain, even though again it's for me to be your hype man. You don't have to, you humble bearded bastard. You don't have to say this shit, but I'm gonna say it, and I'm gonna say that putting this out into the world with the goodwill and the earnestness and the love and the passion and the humility and the that dedication, like that's gonna come back to you, man. Like and I know like you're not expecting it, but I can be the one who speaks for that, and I'm not jinxing anything. It's like just from doing what you're doing, Absolutely. So, and I'm sure, like, from people who listened to the last chat, our interactive artistry's audience has grown quite a bit since then. And if you are out there and you have this spark that you want to make a game about something, it's like, I urge you to do what Justin did, because and stuff happened for Justin too. And he's right here with me. I'm sorry to refer you in the third person, but it's like stuff like came up, and you but you bared with it, and you were sort of like you grounded to it, and then you waited for the thing to speak to you, and now staying on track as you say you're going to do. And we have no expectations, obviously. You can take however much longer you want, but that's going to hit. And I'm just going to tell you something. You want to know something cool, Justin?
Go for it, buddy.
Something which you might not be aware of is around about April. I'm just going to say. So I'm not like an SEO expert or something. But what's going to happen is you're going to have people Googling the fuck out of Game of Thrones, right? And you will get a few people coming across the song To Take the Black. It's going to happen. Which will, by extension, have people, if the SEO is kind, the SEO gods, I think will have a few people, likelier than not, likelier than in other seasons, the final season of Game of Thrones, which, yeah, again, The Sword is not a Game of Thrones band, but they did make To Take the Black, and they've infused a lot of, especially Gods of the Earth. There's that feeling, from the album art and just all throughout, like Lords, for example. Anytime I hear Lords and the Frost Giant's daughter, like and obviously that's Hyboria and like W.E. Howard, with the Conan and stuff, but that's awesome. And I think that that's another cool little wrinkle to the timing of like, oh, these two massive fantasy awesomenesses happening in the month of April. But even more than that, I just fucking love that it's going to have the whole discography. Like, that's amazing. It's going to have Age of Winters. It's going to go Gods of the Earth, Warp Riders, Apocryphon, and fucking High Country, and then straight into Use Future. It's amazing, dude.
Thank you. And really quick, I just wanted to address something too, and not just say for just someone that wants to create video games, like anybody that has any passion for anything. I mean, one thing that I came to grips with a long time ago, and you may share a different belief and everything else, and I strongly believe that you have sort of one life to do whatever you want to, whatever you're passionate about, just go for it, man. Just chase your dreams, because life is over in a blink of an eye. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I just turned 30 this year, and and I'm looking at my life, and I've got another 40, 50 years depending on modern medicine.
Shut the fuck up. You're going 100, 150. Shut the fuck up. 150.
I'm just being realist with with everything else in life. So at the end of the day, man, I just look at it like, do something that you're going to be looking back, on pride. Later on down the road, and say, yeah, I did that. Fuck yeah, I did that. And it could be a huge success, or it might be a failure, but just go for whatever you want. Don't just, lambast yourself and keep yourself down and just say, well, I just have to be another cog in the wheel.
Fuck that, man.
Don't. I mean, if you're satisfied with that, if you have a great life and you want to do that, then more power to you. But if you feel like there's something else that's out there that's calling you, that you want to just take advantage of and go explore that option, then do it. There's no reason not to. And like I said, regardless of, religious affiliation or whatever that you may share in that, I just want to impress upon everybody that listens to your show, and everyone that, that has a passion in life, go do it. Don't stop. Even if, 99 times you fail, it doesn't matter. That one time that you succeed is more rewarding than anything. And you might only be the only person that appreciates what you're doing. And that's the honest to God truth. When I made this game, I thought, well, I'm just going to make this, and, I might be the only one that ever fucking plays it, and it may never go anywhere. And I've garnered, some decent amount of attention to it, but it's not like I'm releasing the next Assassin's Creed and people are talking about it, or Anthem, and, people are like, months of bated breath and everything else. Like, at the end of the day, I just want people to know that whatever you love, whatever makes you happy, go do it. Don't wait for tomorrow. Just get off and go do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I echo that completely, man. You gotta. And there's tools. There's so much more than like people of decades of yore like had available to them. It's all out there, and you listen to a show that basically did the very same. And if you want to know, it's just like I've got a MacBook, I got a the Blue Yeti mic with like a pop filter, and that's it. It's just and yeah, so that's why I think there's also that kindredness between you and I, where it's like we haven't gone to school, we haven't like learned coding, we're just doing it, and I feel like it's good to be on that path, man. I think it satisfies a very, very important part of being human, which gets overlooked all too much, which is that creative aspect and that yeah, like the arts. You need to keep that alive. Have I told you about this recent thing with IA? It's like the Big Eight. I keep talking about the Big Eight now. You're sort of keyed into that.
No, I haven't.
Okay,
What's
so
going on,
the
buddy?
Big Eight is it's games number one, always number one. Number two is film. Number three is music, right? Number four is series, right? The TV series. Books is number five. Yeah, tech comes after that, number six, and then you got art, number seven, and design is number eight. So it's the things basically any creative whatever fits into one of these eight, and I've dedicated basically the show, which will always have games first, but it's to all the eight forms of artistry, and then obviously you have art in there, which performance art, all kinds, street art, whatever, like but sort of, and I was like, yeah, this fits for me. I love uplifting kindred people like yourself, Justin, and in all the art forms. It'll always be games first, but why not open it up to everyone? So I wanted to just basically add to what you were saying about regardless of whether it's games or not. If you love baking and just do that. Like that's a form of art to me, right? So for sure. That's awesome. Dude, did you know that out of nowhere, we just talked for 50 minutes? What the fuck? It feels like we've barely caught up.
It's true. It's been a long time, and I feel like we could probably go for hours. I
For
think our first
hours.
interview was like 3 hours
It
long.
was. It was so long. It's great. But, dude, you're not allowed to. I mean, obviously, stuff comes up, and I'm not putting anything hard and fast, but we can't let another year pass. You got to jump on, like, maybe in a week or so. Come on, man. Come on, man.
I would love to. Yeah,
Excellent.
absolutely. I give me a time and date, and I'll
Shall do.
work that into my schedule for sure.
Fantastic, awesome. So, but I figured I'd throw it to you because you've got the games, but it's not obviously your whole life, even though it's taken up a huge bunch of your bandwidth. What else on the horizon are you either looking forward to, working on, if it's in any of the big eight, or if it's anything outside of that, like travel? What's going on in life, man?
Not much travel wise. I've kind of just taking it day by day. I just, like I said, the big project is obviously the video game. I want to get it released as quick as possible, but
Excellent.
I also don't want to try to rush it either. That's the main thing. Is I like one of the things that I taught myself is that if I start to get like if I have a headache or if I'm tired or for
Yeah.
whatever reason I'm just not motivated, I'm not gonna like put myself through that. This, like I
Yeah,
said,
because
this
then
is
you're
a thing.
pouring that energy into it. You don't want the game to have the energy of like obligation or exhaustion. You want it to have passion. So to make it when you're passionate, I think that's a great idea, man.
Yeah, and that's honestly what I've been doing. I don't want to sit down and put out half-hearted, script or put out, just bum scenes or whatever like that, just to kind of fill a space. And like I said, I put the mouse down at that point, close the computer. I go, take a break, watch something on Netflix,
Excellent.
play a little guitar, listen to some vinyl. At the end of the day, I just find something to reignite the creative juices. And if for whatever reason that day is done, then that day is done, and I just move on. And I have a
Excellent.
fantastic support system. My wife is just amazing. She has been,
Shout out to
pushing me
Mrs.
to.
Dressler, who if
Yes,
she's listening.
she's amazing. She literally has pushed me to finish the game, to get it out there. She sees all the hard work and dedication, and she's just loves that I'm passionate about this. And yeah, honestly, that's also another thing that has kept me going, is just knowing that I've got her support is
Aww.
driving me through and through. So yeah, not to get sappy, but I
No,
just
sappy. We
you know
welcome sappiness here. We're as metal as
yes.
we are sappy, and
Yes, we are indeed.
indeed,
But
for sure.
she's absolutely my rock, and I couldn't imagine making this without her. There are definitely been times where I've been frustrated, and she's able to just to put me the right perspective, the right mindset, and just say, you know what, it's maybe tonight's not the night, and
Yeah.
then try again tomorrow. And she's just always there. And there will be a huge dedication to her in the video game because
Oh, that's
while
sweet.
this is taking up so much time, there's been not that I've neglected time to spend with my wife. I love spending time with her, but
Yeah.
the when I spend most weekends working on the video game, and she's understanding and patient, and so I just know that once this is done, there will be some makeup relationship time for sure. So I
Yeah.
probably won't touch
Go
another
go
new
for a trip or
project for a
something.
while. But
Yeah.
but otherwise, I've been thinking about there's a kind of it spawned from the Chronomancer was um, this sort of medieval Groundhog's Day kind of thing.
Oh,
Not in the vein
nice.
of being humorous, but there's a character that I was working with, and the title of the book, and it would be a short story or whatever, but it'd be called 168, and so it's about this chronomancer, the time wizard that has fundamentally altered time, but in doing so, he's changed it to the point where he can never escape his present, and so it's there, and every time the world ends. And so he's constantly reborn at the time that he tried to change or manipulate time. So every time he's witnessing the world dying over and over again. And so, he's got to find a way to get himself out. And I really, the image that just kind of struck in my head when I was first thinking about it was almost like an orchestra conductor before the end of the world, just
Mm.
standing up on like a cliff's edge and holding your hands up and conducting as like the earth begins to shake, and you can feel that timpani starting to grow beneath your feet, and then you hear the birds rise up, and you hear their squawks and their cries, and then you hear the rumble of whatever explosion or whatever's happening with the world at that time, and he just conducts it. He's a maestro of
Mm.
the end of time, and
Wow.
that was something that in my head born from it. I was going to actually write like a small snippet for the show, but then I was just like, I'm just going to dedicate as much as I can for this, and then
Yeah,
put
yeah.
that on the back burner.
Excellent.
Um, and then
Gotcha,
the other
man.
project was one that I think I shared to you via like text or email form. But it's about life after, and it's literally the afterlife, and it's after the rapture takes place, um, and it's kind of in the vein, and this would be another video game or maybe even a TV series or something like that could work into it. But the idea of waking up and looking around you, and there's no other people that you can see for the throughout most of the experience. So it's a very
Yeah.
lonely and isolated spot. You come to find out, why you were left, and you find out that you used to have a family, and then you find cell phones that you have, but they're locked, and so you've got to figure out how to unlock the cell phone, which unlocks the pictures and the videos of your family, to give you those memories back, because you wake up with nothing. Like, you wake up and literally have no idea what your name
Wow.
is. You're literally sitting in a car, and it's like an overgrown version of San Francisco, and there are just buildings in disrepair, and vegetation has grown over most of the buildings and in the streets, and there's all these abandoned cars, and you're getting out of your car, and you've noticed that there are clothing in your back seat. It also is very reminiscent of Left Behind,
Oh,
which was a
yeah.
great TV show that I really liked with Justin Thoreau, and then Liv Tyler. But the idea is that in the game or series or whatever that it would become, is you find out that the reason you weren't taken was because, or at least you surmise that there was an adulterous affair that you were part of,
Yes.
and you had a second cell phone, and you discover that. And so while wandering the world, you're kidnapped by the cult of the Untaken, and they believe that, and the only one that can read, and I'm putting that in quotes, is the leader of the cultist, and he holds a Bible, and he tries to pretend like he quotes from it, but he does it so that he like fits what he needs, and they believe that the untaken blood will set them free, and deliver them onto the rapture, so that way they can be taken. And so that's just that idea that I've got kicking around too.
That's fucking amazing, dude. Talk about a teaser. Hell yeah. I fucking love that, man. I love that. And I've actually one time I was walking around Canberra. I love my big walks, and like seriously, like my dream day is just walking from here in Canberra. We have two suburbs who are like really super far away from each other, like from Woden to Tuggeranong and then back. It's like literally you could just walk all day. And I remember back in the day, I lived in Kingston, and I remember seeing no one around, and I thought of the words like a soul like drifting, and I felt like because I wasn't even paying attention to my own body, I just felt like a soul, like a disembodied soul. But then soul has that second meaning of being alone, like soul, like solitary, So then I was like, oh, soul, like SOLE, SOUL, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I really love that, and so I loved. It's just another seriously. What the fuck? You seriously grew up in Canberra and you're just not telling me. Talk about some amnesia happening. Swear to God, dude. It has been so awesome catching up. An hour and 10. And sorry, an hour and almost 2-3 minutes. Did you want to leave the listeners with any? We covered quite a bit, and you're gonna jump out on the show, and we're definitely got to get you back on the show before we actually meet in April. I'm gonna set myself that goal. Obviously, don't want to cut too much into your time because you've got your production. But anything you want to leave the listeners with, like locations, maybe? I know you're not doing the Patreon, but just fucking create a Patreon, damn it! Like, let us support you. You should totally do that.
Once it's done, maybe.
Once it's done?
I don't know. Like I said,
Okay.
I don't feel right taking it because
All right.
to be honest with you, and this is another reason why I didn't want to take money, is because the program that I use unfortunately has kind of a bad connotation for producing really terrible games. Because anybody with the program can literally make a game and it can be awful. And there's been plenty of video games that have been put out through the game through the
RPG
system
Maker, yeah.
that unfortunately just haven't met the mark or don't make sense, or the story doesn't make sense, or there's broken parts to the game, and so it just turns people off to the entire system.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want to like put something where some people can like put money into the game, and then I'd feel like super obligated, like where like I had to make this. It's honestly, it's just to keep the pressure down.
Good. All right.
I did not want to deal with that anxiety and that stress of knowing that like
that's okay,
shit,
folks.
Yeah.
I'm talking to the listeners now, folks. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna send him some. I'm gonna force him to give me a PayPal address. It's all good. Don't worry. Because I just felt the I don't know, like before I release the episode, I get the vibe of what the listeners must be feeling when they do listen to this. Is like I am beyond certain, man. We go out, like Interactive Artistry goes out to 12 podcasting outlets and YouTube. That's at least a couple hundred, if not a couple thousand people. And so when they hear you being as humble as you are, like I just by a process of fucking deduction, like there's gonna be a few people who are like, "But let me help you." I'm like, "Don't worry, I'll take on the role of producer if I must." Anyway, dude,
I'll take a beer when you come to Chicago. We'll go for a beer. I'll accept a beer as payment. How about that?
And you are not allowed to pay for anything. Justin, it has been a pleasure. You are my friend. It is so fucking awesome to catch up. Let's catch up again soon. And folks, have a really good rest of the day. Until next time, bye for now. And that's where the episode ends. Justin, holy fuck. I'm so fucking proud of you, man. I seriously am.
Thanks, man.
Dude, gigantic awkward hug right now.
I'll take a regular hug. It doesn't have to be awkward.
It's fucking disembodied digital. But anyway, and also like, and Ray, I've told all the whole story to Ray. She loves what you're doing. She's a huge supporter of yours as well. You must like provide your wonderful wife with a beautiful collective hug from both Ray and I. You must, and you have to jump in that hug too. Like so much love, so much hugging, right? And I swear to God, dude, you need to be prepared because I have lots of love for what you're doing for yourself. I'm gonna be bringing you and the wife something, and you have to be cool. You have to be cool because I'm gonna bring you some fucking presents. So just be fucking cool. I'm warning you. I don't do the thing of like the super surprise. You just have to. You're gonna be cool with that. I'm gonna bring you some stuff, man.
I'm also gonna bring you stuff, so just be prepared too.
All right. I'm so stoked, dude. Do you have like an artist lined up for the cover art and stuff for Barael's to do the physical copy?
So I was actually mostly gonna just using that same screenshot.
I love it.
The one that's kind of my profile image right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love it.
In the Yeah, so I'm pretty much in the physical art. Like I said, I'm only gonna be pressing because like I'm gonna be paying for that also out of my own pocket. So I'm just gonna be pressing maybe like 10, maybe 15,
Copies.
um, just because I don't want to exhaust the funds too much, and I'm sure my wife would not be thrilled if I put us in the red.
Yeah.
Especially especially with all the bills and everything else that we have to pay. So I definitely I'll just be doing piece by piece. But yeah, no, there's only so much money that I can put out there,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I'm happy with that just because
It
I
looks
just
so
want to.
good, man.
It's gonna be it's to be honest with you, the game is like when I do a physical release is just gonna be in a flash drive, so it's not gonna
Okay.
be like anything super impressive. But I just wanted to make like a small little box art thing that's gonna have that on there, and that's about it. It's really not gonna be that
All right.
magnificent or anything like that. It's gonna be a very small, almost like a retro Game Boy game kind of cartridge box thing. Like
Fuck
it's
yeah,
gonna be
dude.
smaller than that even. Oh,
All right.
so
But take photos, like take so many photos of it, make it this whole deal, and then post that on the Instagram. I'll get that fucking. I'll yeah, like market I'll promote the shit out of it, man. I promise. That's gonna be good around about April. And but yeah, man. What time is it there for you now?
it's 11. I'm going into Sunday, so I'm
Dude.
about to catch up to you into the
Oh
Sunday.
no! All right, man. Have a fantastic rest of the day. Be well. Let's fucking chat soon. I'll send you a countdown to see when you can jump back on. But lots of love, man. Love from us, all of us in Canberra and Australia, and like seriously on behalf of the listeners, man. Fuck, man. Like love you lots. Take care. Okay.
All right, buddy. You too, man. Love you a lot. I can't wait to see you here in a month.
Fuck yeah,
We'll have to
dude. Are
lock
you
down
kidding
some.
me? It's gonna be
Yeah.
so good. Chicago. It's like a little camera boy in Chicago, and you show me all the things, man. It's gonna be great.
Oh yeah, dude. Totally. We're gonna go see all the things. Whatever you
All
want
the
to see.
things.
I'll even take the like. I don't. How long are you even staying in
Oh, dude,
Chicago?
yeah, I'll send you my itinerary. Like, I'm gonna send it to you actually today. So it's gonna be roughly like 4 days, 4 or 5 days. So we'll have some time for sure, for sure. But I'll send it that to you now, actually.
Awesome, awesome. I can't wait to see it. And we'll definitely definitely spend some time, hanging
Fuck
out
yeah, man,
together while you're
dude,
here. And
my long
um,
lost brother.
I'll show you. Yeah, right. Absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah, and you
Well,
show.
brother, I'm gonna let you go.
Yeah, peace.
I'm gonna go hang out with the wife for a little bit before we catch some Z's. But hey, man,
Totes.
thanks again for having me on. Again, you're just a great dude, and I'm really happy we met each other.
Same here, brother.
With the 300 people that are on the Sword Reddit, you would think that
I
the chance
know.
of us meeting, it's like a cosmic,
I know, man. It's fucking
alternate
crazy.
reality. It's crazy, bro. All
No problems, man. All right, take it easy. I'll speak to you soon.
right, man. Take it
Good man.
easy, dude. All
Good
right,
man.
later.
Bye, 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 bye.